We're going to talk about today about the most important topic that we need to know and prepare ourselves is the fact that Mashiach is coming very soon. And unfortunately, most people think it's some type of a promotional material. And most people don't even take the whole thing serious. And unfortunately, I run into so many people, I'm saying unfortunately because the people that I run into are from the religious world that really don't believe in the coming of Mashiach. They don't really take it serious. And I hear the most weirdest excuses and the weirdest things that people say about Mashiach. All sorts of weird things. It's an invention. It's a tactic of keeping us having hope. And all sorts of weird things like that. But the reality is that it's more real than it ever was. And you don't need to be a genius, and you don't even have to be a Torah scholar for that. Just have to open your eyes and see what's going on around you. And if you open your eyes and you don't see around you that Mashiach is coming any second, then you have to do a very, very serious reality check. Now, the problem is that nowadays everybody is dealing with some type of a problem. And everybody thinks that they are the only one who has problems. And everybody looks at their friends and their neighbors and their fellow Jews and congregates, and they're like, look, their life is so smooth and easy, and I'm dealing here with all these problems. And the reality is that everybody has problems. And your problems always look worse than everybody else's. But the reality is that each and every one of us in our generation, doesn't matter where you're from, where you are, we all are dealing with serious problems. And some people, they deal with problems with money, with parnasah. Some people with shlom bayit, with relationships, with health. People are dealing with the loss of loved ones. Each one is dealing with something. And I heard once a joke. It's a joke, but it's very, very smart and very appropriate. At one time there was this Jew who was very God-fearing, was very devoted. Everything that says in the book he did, it's according to all the rules. But he had a terrible life. Never had success, never had money, all the time problems. And one day he ends up his life, a car runs him over. So he goes up to Shamayim, he goes up to the heavens with a lot of complaints. And he's like demanding, I want to see the boss. I'm very upset with this whole deal here. I did everything that I was told to do, and look at the life that I got. So they listen to his demand, and they take him in front of the Master of the Universe. And the Master of the Universe tells him, what can I help you? He's like, I don't know what you want from me. I did everything you told me to do. Every little line in the book I listened to, I did everything you wanted me to do. You didn't even give me one moment of peace, of happiness in this world. All my life was full of problems. Problems with money, and problems with health, and problems with everything was just problems. So God tells him, what do you want? What do you want me to do? He's like, I want another chance. It's not fair. I want to go back down. I want to have a near-death experience and have 1 million hits on YouTube. I want to go back down to this world, and I want you to give me a good life. So God says, listen, part of the rules here is everybody has to deal with problems. I mean, that's the script. There's nobody that can come down here with no issues. So he says, okay, so at least give me the least of the problems. I want the least problems that you ever gave to anyone. So God tells him, okay, go to the end of the corridor. You'll see a door, knock on the door. An angel will open the door, tell him that I sent you, and tell him that you came to choose a sack of problems. And tell him that I sent you, he'll take good care of you. So he goes down the corridor, he looks for the door, he finds the door, he knocks on the door, a little angel opens the door and tells him, how can I help you? He tells me, listen, the Master of the Universe, he sent me here. Okay, why? I need to find a bag of problems, he told me. So he says, okay, go in, shop around. The angel tells him, okay, shop around, you choose whatever you want. So he walks into this huge room that looks like Home Depot with tons of these lanes and very high shelves. Imagine a Home Depot, and all the shelves are full of bags. Big bags, small bags, medium bags, square bags, round bags. And he's running through the aisles, looking and looking. He's like, this time, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting like the best deal ever. And he's running up and down the aisles. Finally, he sees at the end of one of the aisles, like this little bag, like hidden between some big bags. He pulls out this little bag. He runs all happy, comes to the angel, tells him, I want this one, I want this one. So the angel says, okay, go tell the master of the universe, I just work here. He goes up to God and he tells him, I want this bag. So God tells him, oh, I see you chose your own bag. So we tend to look at our own bag, the bag of problems, and we complain that my bag is the biggest one, and why do I get all these problems? Now there are reasons why we get hit with these problems. I'm not going to come tonight and explain to you why we get hit with these problems. That's not the point. We just have to accept it. The point is that nowadays, before Mashiach is coming, and if any one of you doesn't believe that Mashiach is coming very soon, then you have to really, really look inside of yourself and look around you and really search and learn, so you get to a point that you understand Mashiach is coming. This is not a joke or some type of a promotional material that from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And I know I have a lot of people come with the same question. We've been hearing about it for thousands of years. Why should he come now? Why now? Maybe he can come in 20 years. Maybe 40 years, maybe 60 years. Who says he's coming now? The reality is that we have many, many sources that point out that the coming of the Mashiach is very, very soon. But what does that got to do with us? The thing is that right before Mashiach comes, the world has to go through a change. Because every time that there's a new beginning of anything, the old state has to be completely destroyed. That's how it works in this universe. You start a new beginning, whatever you had before has to be crushed and totally destroyed. And you see it with the rhythm of life, the rhythm of this world. You can take now a seed and put the seed on the table. And you'll water the seed, and you'll sing to the seed, you'll do whatever you want. 40 years it will be on the table, nothing was going to grow out of it. But you take the same seed and put it now in the ground, and you wait a couple of weeks or a couple of months, something will start growing and sprouting out of it. And why is that? Besides the fact that there's a power in the ground, that this has the power of growth, with the help of the Kadosh Baruch Hu it grows, but what really happens when you put the seed in the ground? The minerals in the ground, in the sand, they make the seed rot. And because the seed rots and gets completely destroys, then starts a new beginning and the seed starts sprouting. And from that comes out whatever if it's a tree, if it's a plant, whatever it is. So in order to have a new beginning, the old state of the seed has to be completely crushed and destroyed and rot. And this is how you see everything in this world. Everything in this world, before you have a new beginning, the old version has to be destroyed. So right before Mashiach comes, the world has to go through a period of time that it has to start transforming. Because the world was created for a certain amount of time, and it was functioning a certain way. And if you're looking at it by nature, for thousands of years, up until about 150 years ago, the world was exactly the same. Everybody was riding donkeys, riding horses, cooking the same way, washing their clothes the same way. Everything was the same way for thousands of years. Plowing the land the same way. They had a certain system, and that's it. And suddenly, about 150 years ago, 120 years ago, started the Industrial Revolution. And within 120 years, we moved from plowing the land with donkeys to having satellites and space shuttles and technology that if you would tell somebody 200 years ago about this technology, they'll think you're like completely nuts. So almost for 5,500 years, the world was working the same way. No changes. Everything was the same. Here and there they added something. And suddenly you jump 100 years forward and look where we're holding now. Look now where we're holding and look where we were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the technology we had then, then we thought we're so advanced. Now, 10, 15 years ago, who had GPS? Who don't even know it's a GPS? Now every little phone has a GPS. And when you're thinking about it, this miraculous thing, you anywhere you are, something spots where you are and directs you and guides you. So within 100 years, we jumped from being in the old age, in the Stone Age, into modern age. And before that, it was all the same for thousands of years. And why suddenly the change? How come we didn't have this change 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago? Or why didn't it evolve in a very gradual way? Why every 200 years something came up? Why dafka now? Now the truth is that there was always technology. It was just not revealed. You know that Shlomo HaMelech had a car. Shlomo HaMelech had electricity and electronics. It says in the Gemara that he had they used to call it the metal demon. That's how the Gemara is talking about it. But Shlomo HaMelech had a car. He had a train. He had everything. He knew all the technology. He knew everything. You know that Rashi's grandson had electricity. So looking at almost 900 years ago, they used to think that he's doing witchcraft. But he just had electricity. He knew how to do it. Con Edison didn't invent anything. We had it from the first day of creation. We had everything. It was just not revealed for many different reasons. When they asked Shlomo HaMelech why he's not coming out with this new invention about he had a train on a track. He says, why should I give now our enemies to kill us faster? Seeing in his Ruach HaKodesh that our enemy will try to destroy us with trains. So he's like, why should I give them now the knowledge and the opportunity? When we know Shlomo HaMelech had a very fancy, like a lazy boy seat, it was full of electronics, it moved. So we always had it. It was just not revealed. And right now, before the coming of Mashiach, in the last 100+ years, suddenly the world is completely changing. So the world is starting to change and evolve into a completely different state, to start preparing us for the time of Mashiach. So we see as the time goes, we start going through different stages and starts shifting. The Zohar says that at the 700th year of the 5th millennium, that's when Chavlei Mashiach is going to start. It's giving a very quick calculation when Chavlei Mashiach is going to start. Chavlei Mashiach is the beginning of the period of Mashiach. Because as all explained, it has to be 70 years of Chavlei Mashiach, then 5 years of Mashiach ben Yosef, then Mashiach ben David can start happening. That's of course if we didn't have the merit before that to bring the Geulah much faster, but obviously that didn't happen. And it says in the Zohar in Parashat Vayera that when will Mashiach, the Chavlei Mashiach will start, when the Shekhinah is going to put its head between its knees, and the head of the Shekhinah will be the Netzach, between the Netzach and the Hod. Now you're reading this, it seems like a very weird thing. The Shekhinah is going to put its head. Oh yeah, I'm going to explain that. What I'm saying is it's a very weird description when the Shekhinah is going to bend its head and put its head between the knees, and the Shekhinah is going to be positioned between Netzach and Hod. Now, not to try to overcomplicate it, but we know that we have 10 Sfirot. If you're looking at every millennium has 10 hundreds. So when it's talking about the 5th millennium, so we know 5,000 years, that's very easy to figure that out. Now, if you take 10 hundreds and you compare it to the 10 Sfirot, so start counting the Sfirot from above, Chochmah Bina and Dat, Chesed Gvura Tiferet, Netzach, Hod Yesod. So between the Netzach and the Hod, what do you get? 700. Right? You following? Which means when is the time that the Zohar is talking about the Chavlei Mashiach is going to start? In Taf Shin. In 5,700. It's a very simple calculation. What's Taf Shin? 1939. That's when Chavlei Mashiach started. And we see it with our own eyes. That's when the Holocaust started. The start of the real suffering of our nation. Now we have to count 72 years from that. That's it. That's what the Zohar explains. But the Zohar explains that we have to go through periods of time. First we have to have the period of Chevlei Mashiach, unbelievable suffering, exactly like a woman who goes into labor. This is, in Hebrew, labor, you called Chevlei Leida. So a woman has to go into labor, 9 months everything's fine, then 2 days before the baby comes, she's going through unbelievable pain. And the more it comes closer to the time of birth, and the pain goes worse and worse and worse and worse, and up, and then comes a beautiful baby, brand new life, all the pain is forgotten, and you have a brand new baby in this world. So we have to go through this period. So we already started the period. I'm not going to get into too many details because through 3 months ago when I was here in Ramat Bet Shemesh, we talked about the whole coming of Mashiach, and I gave a lot of sources and a lot of information, and that covers the whole topic. There's no point of really repeating it. And if some of you are new and you weren't there, so the lecture is posted online, you can go and look at it. The point is to understand that we have to go through the spirit of transformation in order to be ready to the coming of Mashiach. And right before Mashiach comes, it has to be brought down into this world that everybody's going through some type of a problem that they have to deal with. Now, it's not that 2,000 years ago people didn't have problems. And also 1,000 years ago people had problems, and 500 years ago people had problems. But not in the same level how we have them now. Now, there are very few people that they would look at me now and saying, what is he talking about? I don't have problems. I'm healthy, Baruch Hashem, I have a family, I have kids, I have parnasah, I have a home. What is he talking about, this guy? Problems? Yeah, I understand. A lot of people do have problems. I don't have problems. The fact that Mashiach is not here, that's the problem, to start with. So if a person looks at himself and he says, I'm fine, then you're not fine. Because Mashiach is not here, that's the problem. And it's a problem is because nobody's really screaming that they want Mashiach. Because I think people are just not educated to the fact that what are we missing? But the reality is that I don't think really there's enough people, maybe very few people, that really are screaming to Hashem to send Mashiach. So Hashem is trying to manipulate the situation in many different ways to push us against the wall that we will get to a point that we start screaming. Because when you can't find any salvation to your problems, then who do you turn to? You turn to the Master of the Universe to solve the problems. But the thing is that it says that if Chas v'Shalom, first of all, it says that if any generation will have the merit, then the Geulah is going to come, what's called Ve'achishena. It's going to come a little bit faster than what's the due date. But if Lo Zachu, if the generation doesn't have the merit, it says, Ma'amid ani aleim melech kshegzerotav kashot keshel Haman. I'm going to put on them a king that his decrees are as bad as a Haman. Umachziram lamutav, and I'm going to make them do tshuva. Now, first of all, if you're looking at it in the physical world, we do have a Haman. I mean, every generation we have a Haman. Every generation there's some Haman that comes to destroy us. Last generation, he did a Machshimo pretty good job. But every generation there is a Haman that is ready to do his job. We have now one in Iran. He's also a Haman. He's waiting. Just give him the green light, he'll do his job. But it's a puppet of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And why do we need a Haman? Because unfortunately, we function and we operate better when we're under pressure. When everything is good, then you don't need to do anything. When do you start getting in the program? Is when there's a lot of pressure. So Hashem says, okay, if you do it by yourself, no problem, I'll leave you alone. I'll redeem you, I'll send you the Mashiach. But if not, no problem, I'll squeeze you. I'll push you to a corner. I'll put a king that's going to be as mean as Haman. It doesn't have to necessarily be a physical Haman. Even though we have a Haman, every generation has a physical one. But it's a spiritual one. It's a spiritual Haman that wants to spiritually kill us. And every person, doesn't matter who they are, where they're from, they are dealing with their spiritual Haman that wants to kill their spiritual lifeline. And it manifests into this world and into our life that we have to deal with problems. And the problems in some cases are unbearable. It seems like there's no solution to the problem. Because the only solution is only Mashiach. There's no other solution. If you're looking at this world right now, remove for 1 second the concept of Mashiach and ignore the Torah for 1 second. Just look at this world. People are sitting now in the United States and they think that Donald Trump will solve the problems. And that's what really people think. They're living in some dream. Yeah, everything will be okay. Yeah, he'll get elected and he's going to bring us the pride back. I mean, come on, you have to be like a complete moron to look at the world. I'm sorry I'm using this word, but you have to be completely ignorant to look at this world and think that there's some type of a solution to this world. You're looking at the Palestinian problem and you think there's going to be a solution by talking to someone? There's no solution here. The problem is not even talking between the nations. The problem that we have is with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, not with a bunch of people. And people looking at this world and they think that they have solutions to the security problems, to nations. There's no solution. The Hashem already placed these problems. These are like very general and global problems. And any human being that thinks that we can come up with a solution, there's no solution. Because that's the way the world is evolving, and it was already planned 5,000 years ago. From the day the world was created, 5,700 years ago, the script was already written. There are very clear prophecies that are talking exactly what's going to happen. B'acharit Hayamim. It's all written and organized. You just have to read through the scripts, and that's it. And you see what's going to happen. You see that it's really happening. You compare it one to one. It's exactly what's happening. And there's enough sources that you can read all these prophecies, that you go one by one and you see that every one of them is really happening in the order that it's happening. And people still think that Donald Trump is going to be the solution. Not that I have anything against him. I think he's a very nice guy, but he doesn't have any solutions. The only solution is only Mashiach. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu is putting a very tight rope on each and every one of our necks, and each one is dealing with something. So one person is having a lot of problems with his parnasah, and another problem just lost a relative, another problem is dealing with a sickness, and every person is pushed to the wall in some type of a way. And very, very, very few people, maybe at this giving moment, are not dealing with something, but they dealt with something for the last 20 years, and maybe now Hashem is giving them a little break. But even if I'm fine, and I'm good, and around me I'm good, but my fellow Jews are dealing with problems, that's my problem. This is my problem. If I don't see somebody else's problem as my problem, then that's already a problem. Then I'm living in some type of a denial that I'm on this deserted island and I'm fine. But if my neighbor is suffering, how can I sleep quietly when my fellow Jew is suffering from anything? I have an obligation to help that person, to fight for that person, to support him, her, doesn't matter. The problem is that we're all stuck in some type of a quicksand of our own, and we don't even know barely how to deal with our own life. And then somebody Meshugane like me come and tells you, you have to worry about somebody else's problems. I have enough of my own. I now have to worry about somebody else's. The reality is that we're all in it together. And it's not happening by chance or by mistake. If you just look at it in very clear eyesight, just looking in a very clear way, it's very, very obvious. And Hashem is being so kind with us. I mean, the reality is that if you look at all the scripts, you see that the due date that we had for the coming of Mashiach, we passed it already. We passed the Be'itah, the time of the due date. And everybody agrees on that. It's not that it's like an opinion. The Zohar is giving 2 dates. One of them is Tafshin Nun, 1989, when the Gulf War started. Everybody thought, that's it, Mashiach is coming. Because that was the first calculation the Zohar is giving. And the other one is Tafshin Ayin. Now everybody, you talk to all the great rabbis with Mekubalim, they all say it. We don't know what's going on here. Mashiach is very late. I'm sure there's a very good reason for that, and I think the reason for that is Hashem wants us to get the redemption in a very nice way. Akadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do tshuva. Kadosh Baruch Hu is giving us okay, I'll give you another day. Here, I'll give you another day. Just do tshuva. I mean, I have a theory. Don't take this as a source. It's just my theory that the reason why Mashiach is not coming, because first of all, Mashiach is already here. He's just ready to reveal himself. The problem is that every morning he wakes up, says to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, okay, today's the day, right? So Hashem tells him, maybe wait one day. I looked online and I saw today there's 1,000 lectures. And I saw that there's so many things going on tonight, seminars and lectures and classes. You know how many people will probably do tshuva today? Probably a couple hundred people. Will take on themselves a mitzvah. Will get a little bit closer to me. Maybe wait one day. You know how many people we can get on board in that one day? So Mashiach says, okay, fine, no, tough. And the next day, the same story.
Do you think he's here in a physical form as a man?
Yeah, Mashiach is ready to be revealed.
He's here.
He's here. I mean, he's not going to fall from the sky.
Right. He's living amongst us in Israel?
I don't know. I didn't look in Google Maps where he is. I mean, no, I'm no. He probably is in Israel because all the sources say that Mashiach is going to have to reveal himself in the north. I mean, it has to be. I mean, look, the reality is like this: Mashiach can come tonight. That's what it says. Mashiach reveals himself in the Galil. I don't know why. I just moved to the Galil to make sure that I'm, first line to take a picture. So the reality is Mashiach can come tonight. So what? He's just going to fall from the sky? It's a human being. It's a man. That's what the Navi says. The prophet says it's a man, a human being. And same thing with Moshe Rabbeinu. One day he walks in the street, in the mountain, boom, he gets a revelation. Now we don't know. I don't know how it is now. Nobody really knows. I don't know if we don't know if Mashiach knows that he's Mashiach. Maybe he still didn't get his revelation, but he's here. He has to be here. If Mashiach is coming tonight. I mean, Rav Kaduri said 10 years ago that the soul was already, the man is already here. Excuse me? Yeah.
What about Ben Yosef?
According to the sources, Mashiach ben Yosef already died. I mean, nobody knows exactly, but there are different prophecies that are talking about Mashiach ben Yosef. One of the prophecies is by a prophet called Zerubbabel ben Shaltiel. He's not a known prophet. He has a book, the book of Zerubbabel. It's mentioned in a few books, in Azariah, in Nehemiah. Zerubbabel is the great grandson of the son of the king of Yehoiakim, who's a direct descendant of David HaMelech. In the book of Zerubbabel, he has a prophecy that he says that before Mashiach is going to come, we are going to have possession of Jerusalem for 40 years. And after we have possession of Jerusalem for 40 years, we're going to have 5 years of a period of Mashiach ben Yosef. Then Mashiach ben Yosef is going to die. Then Leidat Mashiach, the birth of Mashiach ben David, is going to happen. Now, after 2,000 years of exile, when did we start having possession of Yerushalayim? 1967. Now take 40 years from that, that's 2007. Add 5 years of that, of the period of Mashiach ben Yosef, that's 2012. Now there are two great tzaddikim that died at that exact time. One of them is the grandson of the Baba Sali, Rabbi Abu Chatzera, who died exactly on Kaf Chet Tammuz, that according to all the calculations, this is exactly when Mashiach ben Yosef has to die. Now again, don't take my word, I'm just giving you facts that I'm reading. And also Arav Eliashiv, whose name was Yosef. Now we don't really know who's Mashiach ben Yosef, because all the sources says that we're not going to even know who's Mashiach ben Yosef. He's just acting behind the scenes.
So, isn't there going to be a period before Mashiach comes that Jerusalem will be taken over by the Arabs for a certain amount of time?
You didn't look at the news lately?
Well, I know that's what's going on.
Okay.
Yes,
So
hello.
So just open the news and you see that Har HaBayit is not in our hand.
So that's what it is.
I mean, they're playing football there every day.
No, the way they explained it to me was that.
Okay. There is an opinion that's talking about that there's going to be 3 wars of 3 Gog and Magogs, and there's a whole explanation on that the first World War I and World War II were the first 2 ones. World War III, the third Gog and Magog. It's comparing how Sancherib came to Yerushalayim 2 times. 1 time he didn't make it, 1 time he won, 1 time Hashem went out and fought them. There's a whole deep explanation about the fact how the nations will come to fight over Yerushalayim.
Right.
But the reality is that we have possession of Yerushalayim right now, but we don't really have possession, because who's really controlling Yerushalayim? Even if you're looking at the Arabs, who's controlling Yerushalayim? The Israeli government. That's not really a Jewish possession. As long as you have Erev Rav in the Knesset, we don't have real possession over it. The thing is that there's a little bit of a mess, and I don't want to get into all the sources and stuff like that, why and who. The point is that in regards to Mashiach ben Yosef, we don't know who he is. According to the sources, Mashiach ben Yosef already was here, did what he had to do, and that's it, and moved on. And there are other sources that are talking about that exact same time will be the end of the period of Mashiach ben Yosef, then can start the beginning, the birth of Mashiach ben David. Of course, we always had the opportunity of bringing the Geulah faster. This is called the Achishena. If we have enough merits, then the Geulah will come faster. But obviously that didn't happen, for whatever reason. I don't know why. But at this point, if you want to look at it in a more of a exact source way, then Mashiach is very late. We're way past the date already. Why? I don't know. Because if the Geulah Chas v'Shalom is going to come in a very bad way, then there's going to be a lot of loss in souls, a lot of casualties. And I think the Kadosh Baruch Hu just wants to bring it in Chesed v'Rachamim. He wants us to have the merit that the Geulah is going to come nice and people will do tshuva. Kadosh Baruch Hu is not looking to Chas v'Shalom bring destruction into the world. Kadosh Baruch Hu he wants the tshuva of everybody, even the wicked people. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants tshuva.
The wicked Jews?
The wicked Jews, yeah.
Not the wicked Goyim.
Hashem wants tshuva from everybody. You know, the Goyim, there's nothing wrong with them. They're part of the Geulah. Mm-hmm. In every place you look, there are wicked people. But the Goyim are part of the Geulah. Because at the time of the redemption, 2/3 of the world will be destroyed, which remains 1/3. That's 2 billion people. 2 billion people, we're talking about 5 times the size of America, of non-Jews that will be part of the Geulah. Now, for many generations, people were dealing with the non-Jews like as if it's dirt, which is the biggest chilul Hashem. And up until today, people, they relate to the non-Jew like it's like the scum of the earth, which is mamash chilul Hashem. I sometimes, when I became religious and I went to different neighborhoods in New York, how I saw how they treating the non-Jews, it's chilul Hashem. It's mamash chilul Hashem. First of all, you don't know if they're Jews or not. That's the varishon. In our generation, you don't know who's Jewish and who's not. Especially in America. After 3 generations after the Holocaust, you can point on so many people and tell them, this is a non-Jew. No, it's not. It's a Jew. Exactly like you. So that's first of all. Second of all, how do you know? Maybe he's going to convert tomorrow. Third of all, even if he's a righteous Jew. A righteous Goy. Besides the fact that after the time of the Geulah, at some point, all the Jews will be elevated to level of Nevi'im, and the rest of the nations that are going to be in the world will be all converted. There's not going to be religions. They're all going to be Jewish. Now, besides that, one of the first commandments that God gave us when we were in the desert is that you should be a light to the nations. V'tiyu li atem mamlechet kohanim v'or lagoyim. I have a job here. I have to be a light to the nations. So if I'm treating them like garbage, what kind of a light am I? So the way Jews unfortunately treat non-Jews is very, very disgraceful. They're children of Hashem to start with. I'm not talking about the wicked ones. Unfortunately, there's also wicked ones in our nation. But Hashem wants all the wicked people to do tshuva. Hashem wants also the non-Jews to do tshuva. They have to do tshuva in their way. They also have mitzvot. They're part of the system. And for hundreds of years, they were not in the system. Why? Because they were murdering us and killing us and raping us. So, the heads of the generations put these segregations. Don't be part of them. But the reality is that 30 years ago, the Lubavitch Rebbe says, no, you have to go and educate now the non-Jews. We are ready for the Geulah. We've been waiting for Mashiach for years. We're waiting. The non-Jews are not waiting. They're not waiting. Go and educate them. They have 7 laws of Noach. Go and teach them. So they're part of the Geulah. So also the non-Jews that you let's for now call them wicked, they also have to do tshuva. It's in a different way, but they also have to repent and come back to Hashem. But the reality is Hashem wants all the wicked people to do tshuva. I mean, if you really, really look at it, it's very easy to look at another person and says, oh, I wish that person could burn in hell. It's the easiest thing to do. Because every one of us has somebody that you can point a finger on and say, I wish that person will explode. And every person can probably do that. And probably you can do it on 10 people. That's the easiest way out, because every one of us has somebody who really hurt them. The point is that not to be upset and to be angry at the person who did something bad to me, is rather to find in myself the place to let it go. Because when I'm upset at somebody, then the problem is in me, because I'm holding this negative charge in me. Yeah, that person is wrong. I'm 100% right. There's no argument right now if I'm right or he's right. It doesn't matter. That's not the point, who's right. In this world, it's not about who's right, it's who's smart. You in an argument, it doesn't matter who's right. You can be a 5,000% right. You're not going to win the argument. In this world, what counts is who's smart, not who's right. Now, to be right, that's not a big chokhmah. And in many of our arguments and disagreements that we have, I'm holding I'm right. I deserve here to be right. Yeah, but that's not going to help right now. And if I hold some type of grudge to anyone, the one that I'm punishing is only myself. Because that other person that did something wrong is just walking around wherever he's walking around, minding his own business, and I'm the one who's holding something negative in me. This is the source of all the sicknesses. People who are very, very sick, it's because they don't know how to release something that happened to them 50 years ago. They're just carrying it around with them.
What else is Mashiach?
Well, Mashiach is going to bring world peace. He's going to bring everybody together. He's going to remove all the obstacles in the way. He has a lot of things he needs to do. But the bottom line, what he's going to bring, he's going to bring the world to a state that we are ready to start accepting this godly revelation in a much higher level. He's going to have to clean everything, really. He's going to elevate the world. He has a lot of different things that he has to do. The thing is that we have to prepare for that. The thing is that if you want to look at it in a Kabbalistic term, everything in this world is created with a vessel, and then there's a godly light that has to go in the vessel. When the world was created with a light. That's what it says in Sefer Bereshit. Hashem created the light. Vayihor. Now, really, when you're thinking of it, the sun and the moon were created on the fourth day. But on the first day, it says Vayihor, that Hashem created the light. So where's that light? Anyways, the commentary says that this light was hidden to give in the future, to give to the tzaddikim. But the world was created with a spiritual light. The problem was that at the time of Adam and Chava, Adam, more to say, wanted to reach to a higher level much faster than what he could handle, and he drew down to the world very, very strong lights, and his own vessel could not sustain this light, and the vessel broke. This is what's called in the Kabbalah Shvirat HaKelim. That Adam HaRishon was created in this world, in Olam HaAsiyah, and he knew he had to climb into Olam HaAtzilut, but it had to go through stages. And he wanted to grow right away into Olam HaAtzilut. So what did he do? He pulled too many lights into very small vessels. This is the problem how we get hurt in most situations in our life, is that we pull to ourselves too many lights and we either don't have vessels or the vessels are too small. And then the reality is that the vessel will break. This is where people experience in their life sadness, emptiness, depression, all these emotions, because they draw too many lights to their life with some type of an act, which in most cases can be a sin, and there wasn't a vessel to hold this light. So the vessel exploded. And the reaction, how it manifests into our body, is right away you feel an emptiness, because you don't have any vessel to hold this light. So you feel a void. This is the concept of a sin, of a avera, of a chet. And we learn it from something that is impure. What's something impure? Is that it cannot hold this godly light. This is what's called impurity. Because we have many different levels of impurity. What's called tumah. Tumah is not that it's something dirty. It's just that the vessel is not perfect. And it has the opposite effect. So that's why when a person does certain sins, then he damages his own vessel. The result from that, the light disappears. Siluka or, this is what's called. What will be right away the physical reaction? Sadness, emptiness, depression, isolation, all these things that, we tend to blame it on physical things. But the reality is that what I did in a spiritual way, I did not allow this godly light that was created by a mitzvah, by learning Torah, by helping another person, but I did not allow it to come into the right vessel. Too much light, or sometimes a little bit of light, or the vessel is damaged. There's many different ways how this can manifest. So when the world was created, in the beginning Hashem put too much light. It explains in the Zohar, and then many different books of Kabbalah, how Hashem like kind of better tested the world. Let's put it this way, in a modern terminology. But the thing is that right now in our generation, then most of the vessels are still broken. Now, you have a question? Or to continue?
No, I was just thinking, if the vessel broke and the light went everywhere, is that why we were in exile, or parts of us everywhere?
Well, I don't want to completely sidetrack, but it explained that Adam HaRishon was a pillar of light. He was a neshama, he wasn't a goof. And when he went down in his level, when he sinned, he went down in his level. It's not that he broke himself, but he went down in his level, and this pillar of light exploded. And it exploded to millions and millions of sparks. And these sparks, some of them fell very far down into this world, into the klipot, and some of them just scattered around the universe. And that's mainly why we were almost 6,000 years in exile, to go and start sifting and finding these lights, these sparks. This is called avodat habirurim, the sifting between the darkness, because these godly sparks got stuck in the klipa, in the power that opposes holiness. And that's why for thousands of years our main job was to sift through the good and the bad. This is what's called the secret of the tree of knowledge, Sod Etz Hadat. And the secret is tov v'ra, good and bad, that the good and the bad got mixed together. That's why the Torah came to explain to us how do I have to separate. This is good, this is bad, this is permitted, this is not permitted, this is kosher, this is not kosher, this is pure, this is not pure. If I want to know how to deal with this world, Hashem gave me a manual. Here, take this manual, read it, you'll know what's pure and what's not pure. You know what's kosher and what's not kosher. If I wouldn't have the Torah, how would I know that a pork is not kosher? I mean, it looks like any other animal. Why should I not touch it? Because the godly spark that enlivens the pork will damage my neshama if I touch it. If I digest it. It's going to be a short circuit between these godly sparks. So Hashem had to tell me, this is permitted, this is not permitted, this is impure, this is not pure. So Hashem gave me a manual. And for thousands of years, that was our job, to sift through the darkness and to pull out these godly sparks, to bring them back to their source. And now we're already done. We're done with avodat habirurim. That's what Mashiach is going to do when he's going to come. He's going to put everything all together like a puzzle. We're back to stage one, back to Gan Eden. And we're going to be souls like Adam HaRishon, a soul in a body that sees God. We're going to walk around like prophets. We're going to see God everywhere, like Adam HaRishon.
Rabbi, does it have to come by year 6,000?
No, in the year 6,000 we just finish no, not only that, we finish the state of the world of the 6,000 millennium, and then we go into the next stage, which some people call that Olam Haba, the world to come.
Mashiach in a human form have to reveal himself by 6,000?
Chas v'shalom. This is 224 years.
I know.
This is like literally the end of the end of the end.
Right now?
No, 6,000.
Right.
If Chas v'shalom something happens and Putin doesn't nuke America, then we have to wait till the year 6,000. That's in theory.
But that is the...
That's the cut-off date.
Right.
But Mashiach is going to come very much more before that. When?
Yeah.
Maybe tonight. I don't know. Maybe tonight. Each and every one of us will take on himself something, and he's going to come tonight.
What do you think?
That he's coming tonight?
No.
I don't know. When do I think? I don't know. I don't think.
You think?
I hope it's coming tonight.
We're not even supposed to know
What?
what's coming, right?
It's not about supposed to know or not to know. We have to do whatever we need to do to make him come faster. It's not about calculating when he's coming. Maybe he's going to come in 2 weeks, so let me paint the house before he's coming. No.
Human beings, we're dying for him.
Okay. Well, you have to rephrase that instead of we. You have to say I.
I'm polishing for him.
So unfortunately, it's still not in the we. If it was in the we, then we would be in a different place.
Because people don't believe.
That's why I asked my Rav, you, when is he coming?
He's coming soon.
Will I live to see it?
You know, some people can leave a minute before he comes. You know what a zchut it means, to see the coming of Mashiach? You know what a zchut it is, to see it actually happening? And even if, let's say, Be'ezrat Hashem, the Geulah is coming in a very nice way. Hashem had a good day and he's like, okay, I forgive everybody, let's bring him nice. So, okay, millions of Jews are going to have to come into Israel, but we here we're going to see it live. You know what a difference it is? That you're going to see it with your eyes, and 6 million Jews in America are going to see it on a screen. So even if
Aren't they being pushed out?
Excuse me?
They seem to be being pushed out all
Of America?
everywhere.
They're sleeping.
You know, 99% of them, they don't feel pushed out. That's the problem. The reality is that any normal human being that lives in Europe or America, if they don't pack their bags and moving, something's wrong. There's just something wrong here. But we talked about it the last time in the lecture about the redemption, that I explained how everybody's trapped in this klipa. And this is the klipa that we were trapped in when we were in Mitzrayim. The Zohar calls this klipa kelev.
Didn't Hashem judge us based on 80% of the Jews, not on 100%?
At the time of Mitzrayim,
Again,
there's nothing to do with being judged. Yes, 20% went out
yes.
because 80% chose to stay
Yes.
in America. They thought that Trump is going to help them.
Right.
But yeah, 20% went out.
Right. So might that happen right now?
No, in this Gula, everybody will be redeemed.
Yeah, that's what it says.
No, the Zohar explains that how is it possible that in the time of Mitzrayim, for 210 years, not one slave was able to run away? How can it be? They didn't have fences, they didn't have gates, they didn't have drones, they didn't have an army, they didn't have cameras. How could it be that for 210 years one person could not run away? It does not make sense. So the Zohar explains that first of all they had these guard dogs. You know, when the Jews left Mitzrayim, it says "V'lo yicharatz kelev leshono," that Hashem made the dogs quiet. Now there wasn't poodles in Mitzrayim or Dobermans. What are these dogs? If you look at the ancient scripts, you see that they had these idols, and they had shapes of animals, and one of them had a body of a human being and a head of a dog. And these idols, whenever a slave would run away, they would start screaming, "Hey, he's running away! He's running away!" That's when they left Egypt, 3 million people, Hashem made them all quiet, and the dogs didn't talk. But the Zohar explains that how did really the slaves were not able to run away? Because a slave will come to the border, and this kelev, this klipa, would come to him and tell him, come, where are you going? Where are you going? What, are you going to the desert now? Go back to your Egypt, to your limitation. Your family's there. Your relatives are there. You have a job there. Who cares if it's a stinky job and you're living on food stamps? But it's your job. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to the desert now where you don't know anybody? When are you going to go to Israel? It's dangerous there. There's no jobs there. So the klipa would convince the slave to go back to Mitzrayim by saying, your family's there. What, are you going to start a new start? A new beginning? Go back to your comfort zone, to where you are familiar with. Just go back. And that's how the slaves would go right back, because they would be like, okay, it's not paradise here, but my family are here. And I still have my job. For hundreds of years, they didn't look at it even as slavery. Only when Moshe came and things started becoming hard, then it became real slavery. They looked at it as a job. Look now at almost any Jew in America. I'm not talking about Israel. Israel is the same. But look now at any Jew in America. They're also slaves. They're slaves to their job. I don't know. I know very few people in America that are like sitting like this and happy. Most of the people work very hard for their money. So they're slaves too. And they're slaves in a different way, because I have to have a nicer car because my neighbor just got a nicer car, and I need to build another room to my house because my neighbor built another room to my house. I'm a slave to the money. So they're slaves now too. So this klipa would numb everybody, put them in this comfort zone and numb everybody. You're good where you are. Go now to almost any American Jew now and tell them you should go to Eretz Israel. It's not safe here. It's not a safe place. Leave me alone. Everything's okay. I have a job here. What am I going to do in Israel?
Crazy that I came.
So why? Because people are like numb. They're under this klipa that numbs them, that puts them in a very comfort zone, that even though it's not comfortable, because the majority of the Jews in America right now, they're on food stamps, they're on vouchers, on government housing, they don't have a normal life there. Very few are still somehow making it. But the reality is that the majority, no, go to Borough Park, everybody's on food stamps there, everybody's on government housing, Medicaid, everything. They don't have money. All these neighborhoods, I'm not just saying Borough Park, almost any neighborhood you'll have a fraction, a percentage that they're actually still normal. But why are people not packing their bags? Because they're in their comfort zone. And we have the same klipa in our generation that puts everybody in their comfort zone.
But we had the same klipa before World War II and nobody wanted to.
Exactly, yeah. This is the klipa that puts everybody in a numb state.
They didn't believe.
Now in our generation, you know how another way of this klipa, how it manifests into the world? That everybody is drugged up.
Oh, well.
So the klipa dresses itself into the generation according to what the generation can offer. 90% of the generation is drugged up. Numb. Don't feel the problems right now. Don't deal with problems right now. Just take the pill and relax. That's why I don't agree with the whole pill thing. It's just an easy way out to shut people up. So of course we have this klipa. This klipa comes from Amalek, is to numb us down. Amalek has the power, asher karacha b'derech, cools you down, puts you in a very comfort zone, a very numb zone. Don't go the extra mile. And this is the problem. The problem is that every one of us is stuck in this comfort zone, and on top of that, a pile of problems. That who wants to even think about Mashiach? Who has the energy to scream to Mashiach? I'm so occupied now right now with my problems, and you want me to go now to the streets and tell people Mashiach is coming, everybody's going to laugh at me, people are going to think I'm crazy.
Well, why are we getting this rachmanis from Hashem when are most of us davening to wait, Mashiach don't come because my soul, my neshama isn't aligned yet, I'm not ready? Is that coming clear, coming more strongly than bring Mashiach now? I mean, that's a dichotomy. Most of us want to wait because we have 60 years of tshuva to do. We're backed up.
Don't worry, Mashiach is going to take care of everything. Not too long ago I met this young man who did tshuva, and he's unbelievable. We met unbelievable. He's running all day long and carving people, and he's really going out of his way. And he tells me in kind of a weird way, I don't want Mashiach to come yet, because I really want to do good tshuva. I told him this is the most ridiculous terutz that I ever heard. Because, Mashiach is going to, don't worry, Mashiach is going to, whatever he didn't do, Mashiach will add it up. Like a good father that tells the son, you want to buy yourself something? Okay, you work, come up with X amount of money, I'll give the rest. I get all these types of questions from many different people. I get it, a very popular question that I get is from people who are in the middle of converting and telling me, what's going to happen if Mashiach comes now? Where am I going to hold? I didn't finish my conversion. So don't worry, Mashiach is going to stamp the Giur. Don't worry. Mashiach is going to solve all the problems. So if you think that you need another 60 years of doing tshuva, you do your part. Don't worry, when Mashiach is going to come, he's going to finalize it.
You just said that, with all due respect, you just said that Hashem's waiting because...
I just said, first of all, I just said it, that don't take it as a source. It's just a theory that when I have to try to figure out why Mashiach is not coming, because I feel that Hashem does have Rachmanut on us and He wants us to really do tshuva by ourselves. But when it will come to the point that that's it, Mashiach says, that's it, then Mashiach will finish the job.
We shouldn't think that way.
Yeah, we chas v'shalom. This is the worst attitude to say, I wish Mashiach will come in a year so I can finish my tshuva. No, it's not up to you to finish your tshuva. You have to do what you need to do.
What's the impetus to even do tshuva if that's the way you're thinking?
Excuse me?
If that's the way someone thinks, what's even their impetus? What's their willingness?
Because you have to come up with your part of the deal.
I'm talking about what these people are thinking. If they think that's fine and we know Mashiach is going to fix everything, why even bother? Let's just wait and...
That's the problem of the attitude of many people. That maybe, you know what many people say? Listen, who am I? This is too big of a problem for me. Let the rabbis worry about it. And when Mashiach comes, he comes. But the reality is that Hashem wants each and every one of us to scream. So he pushes you to the wall. Because if you're not pushed to the wall, you're not going to scream. And you see, you know who are the ones who are doing Aliyah? Not the ones who have money and they can come here easily. The ones who don't have money, they lost their job, lost their house, lost everything. Like, okay. They are the lucky ones. They may be thinking, on the external part, they look like they lost something. They gained everything. But the ones that not moving from their comfort zone, it's like as if they're so sunk into their klipa that they can't even move anywhere, which I don't chas v'shalom to say anything negative about any Jew, but it's like as if it seems like Hashem says, no, these people, they're really working on themselves, let me pull them out of the dirt, and the ones who are real kvetch, okay, let them stay there. I don't know what Hashem's plan is, and chas v'shalom, we want all the Jews to do tshuva and come to Eretz Israel. The point is that everybody tends to look at their own world and say, I have problems, I cannot deal with my problems right now. I'm barely dealing with my problems. You want me to deal with other person's problems? You want me to worry about the Geulah? Let the rabbis worry about it. Let the other people worry about it.
But you said something that we have to be like somebody else has a problem, it's our problem.
Yeah.
So, okay, I can understand part of that, but if somebody has a problem and they're not willing to listen, and you want to be there, and you want to be compassionate, and you want to help them, and they're just dragging you more and more into their mud, they're dragging you down to a level where you don't want to be, because you can't handle it.
So don't go to that level.
You have to distance yourself, because it's just taking to a place where you don't.
Not everything is black and white. In some situations, you need to pull back. You can be, Superman. If you're in a situation that you cannot handle and it pulls you down, then you move out of it. I'm not saying that you have to now devote your entire life and jump on every situation and save the world. You can't do that. But first of all, just by the fact that I worry about somebody else's problems, by default my problems diminish. So if I'm worrying, I'm concentrating on my problems, then Hashem says, okay, so deal with it. But when you go and says, okay, fine, I have problems, but let me help him, let me help him, and let me help him.
To a degree where you could take it, and then
For sure.
you can't, you have to back up.
That's 100% sure, because first of all, in any situation, there's no black and white. You cannot come and say, oh, I'm going to save the world. If there are situations that you cannot handle, and if it will damage you, then you have to move away and let somebody else do it. But there's enough who to help. The problem is that when I'm occupied in helping another person, it doesn't necessarily mean with giving him money.
Of course not.
It can help him emotionally. And it can help that person with any way. But when I'm occupied in helping somebody else, by default, my problems are going to get removed. Because Hashem says, you taking care of my kids' problems, I'll take care of your problems. This is the method where Hashem works. If you think that you can handle your own problems, you can't. Nobody can. So Hashem says, if you think you can do it yourself, then let's see. But if you go out of your way and you say, okay, my problems are my problems, that's not the point right now. Let me help another person. And Hashem says, oh, you taking out of your time to help him, I'll take out of my time to help you. And the fact is, put it to the test and you'll see that you go out of your way to help somebody else, your problems disappear. Because you're occupied in somebody else's issues. Now there's no black and white. Don't go now and help another person say, he was wrong, my problems still exist. It doesn't work like that. First of all, you also have to give it some type of a period. The point is that what you have to take from tonight, and this is the most important thing, is that we're all in it together. And if you're suffering, I have a problem because I'm going to suffer too. And if you're suffering or you're suffering and I'm not doing anything about it, I'm suffering too. Because we're all in the same boat. And maybe you have more problems than me, fine. So let me put my weight in. The whole system, how it builds, if you're really looking at the system of the Torah, it's built on a very, I give you, you give me, this whole exchanging. If you're looking at it in a normal way, you ask what Mashiach is going to do. One of the things that Mashiach is going to do, there's not going to be such a thing as economy in the world. Once Mashiach comes, you can throw the money to the toilet, money is not going to have any value anymore. Credit cards are going to be pieces of plastic, there's not going to be the whole concept of economy. Why? Because the right way of doing it, that each country is going to support the other country. One country has a lot of rice, another country has a lot of wheat. They're going to exchange. And countries are going to, because in the beginning the world is going to be the same. Olam kimina goinag. Everything's going to be the same, but everything is going to be based on exchange. Now in this world, oh, you want something? Buy it. But when Mashiach is going to come, we're going to exchange things. That's the right way. That's the way of the Torah, that we're working in some type of a way that I'll give you what I have, you give me what you have. You know, we'll help each other. That's one of the things that Mashiach is going to achieve, because once Mashiach comes, there's not going to be such a thing as money. There's not going to be such thing as economy. That's why you're seeing that the world started changing in stages. In 2007, the materialism and money and economy, that's when it crashed the first time. That's when the entire world started shifting. That the value of money started deteriorating. At that time, Rabbi Ginsburg, who was a great Mekubal, said, this is the point where the world, the physicality of the world is turning in. That's it. Money is going to start going down and down and down. And you see that first, half the world lost their wealth with the crash. A couple of years later, Hashem sent some shmegeg, took everybody's money, made off. He made off with my money. And you see how the world slowly is losing value. Looking at this massive country, an empire, the United States, in a deficit of trillions and trillions of dollars. So you see how it's evolving, that before Mashiach is going to come, money is not going to have value.
I don't think it has value in it right now.
No. It says in the Gemara in Masechet Sotah that the cost will be outrageous, that everything is going to be not normally expensive. But once Mashiach comes, that's it. There's not going to be value. There's going to be such a thing as an economy. Because the base of the Torah is that we're all living together. That's why when there's a certain tzaddik, his name is Rabbi Ashlag, and when he came to Israel in the early century and he saw the kibbutzim, he was like, wow, genius, that's how it's supposed to be. That everybody's a community, and everybody's giving something to the community, and everybody's getting something here. But the only problem with the kibbutzim that they took Hashem out. So he's like, the concept is genius, but where's Hashem? So when Mashiach is going to come, that's going to be the reality, that we're going to be helping each other. Now the more we do it now, we're just bringing the reality closer. Unfortunately, there are two ways how the Geulah can come. It can come in a very nice way. And it says in the book of Daniel that if the generation is worthy, im zachu, Mashiach is going to come on what's called an ananei shmaya, on these clouds, the heavenly clouds. We're all going to like fly on clouds. And the Gaon Chida says this is kepshuto. It's going to be like that, on clouds. But im lo zachu, that's what it says in the book of Zechariah. If the generation will not marry, the Mashiach is going to come poor and riding on a donkey. Now, he's not really going to ride on a donkey. The point is that Mashiach is going to have the donkey. The word donkey in Hebrew is chamor. Chamor comes from the word chomer. Chomer is material. Mashiach is going to have to come and break the material. Break the materialism of the world. And that means that it's not going to come nice. That's why it's crushing, and economies are crushing, and situations and relationships, everything is crushing. That's how Mashiach has to start crushing the chomer. In order for us to see that the chomer, the materialism, is nothing. It's an illusion. It doesn't even exist. He has to completely break it, because we're all slave to this materialism. Now, the Zohar is talking about 3 wars, 3 Gog and Magogs. There's another Midrash that's also talking about that. So we know that we went already through 2 of them, and now we're waiting for the 3rd one. Now with the 3rd Gog and Magog already started, first it always starts in the spiritual level. And if chas v'shalom we don't have enough merits, that it manifests into the world, into a physical war. So the spiritual war already started. If chas v'shalom, this spiritual war will manifest into the world, into a physical war, all you need is the first nutcase to press the button. That's it. 10 seconds, 2/3 of the world is destroyed. That's all it takes. It's our job to bring the Geula nice, because we don't want it to come not nice. If the Geula is coming not nice, the sages at the time of the Gemara, when they saw in their Ruach HaKodesh what's going to happen, they're like, I don't want to be there. Yate velo achmine. I don't want to be there when he comes. I don't want to see it even. Because they saw in their Holy Spirit, in the Ruach HaKodesh, how it's going to look. So we want to avoid that. We don't want it to get to that, but we wanted to bring it nice and bechesed, with a lot of kindness. So it all depends on us.
But didn't Hashem say that he would not destroy the world like he destroyed the world at one time?
He said he's not going to destroy the world with a flood. That's it. That's what he said. I'm not going to destroy the world with a flood. But if I want to destroy the world with a star hitting the earth, or a nuclear bomb, or whatever.
See what's going around in the world right now, all over. Destroying the world could be an earthquake, it could be a tsunami, it could be flooding the whole United States. So it's basically the same thing.
Hashem prepared all the options how the Geula can come. He prepared a few nutcases and enough nuclear bombs in the world to flatten the world. He prepared all the scenarios. He prepared a star flying over this world. However he wants it to happen is going to happen. But it's in our hands. Because I have the power to make sure that the Geula is coming nice. When I'm saying I, not me, every one of us has the power to bring the redemption faster. It's by going out of my limitation.
Our world could be blown to kingdom come, and we still will exist spiritually. Is it possible?
But that's not the point of the world.
That can happen, that we're
First of all,
physical bodies, but we have, I don't know.
First of all, the body can die, the soul can never die. So, you used a term, the world will be exploding to somewhere. Yeah, it can happen. But first of all, the soul is eternal. The soul will never die. But that's not the purpose. Don't worry, Hashem is not going to let the world be destroyed. There's a whole purpose here. And if Chas v'Shalom the Geula has to come in a destruction, is to flatten everything, to come a rebirth of it. And even when it's talking about in prophecies that 2/3 of the world will be destroyed, okay, so we're still left with 1/3. And we don't know how it's going to happen. Yeah, there is a very good chance that Chas v'Shalom, the redemption, is not coming nice. I mean, that you don't have to be a genius. Just open the news. And you'll see that the world can come to an end very soon. I mean, you have enough nuclear power out there and enough nutcases that are threatening. I mean, if you look at the Russian, what's his name, the Sar HaBitachon, the Russian one, every 2 days he's threatening this country, we're going to nuke you, we're going to nuke you. He's like talking like as if it's like pulling something out of the pocket. So, and they'll do it. The Russians already proved that they mean business. When they say something, that they're going to do it. And you have China, you have Korea, you have enough nutcases that all you need is one, is going loco. So the point is that we don't want to look at it in such a negative way and walk around, oh my God, the world is going to be destroyed. That's not the point.
I'm asking in a positive way, actually. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. It could create terrible suffering, but
we don't want it to happen like that.
The end product is maybe that's.
But we don't want it to happen like that. We have many different possibilities. We have many different possibilities, but I think what would be the best to do, because I think some people want to have an early night. Let's finish.
Not an early night, not a late night.
Yeah.
We're already past the early stage.
Listen, if you have kids and a wife, you could go.
Baruch Hashem. I'll finish the points of what we want to give across, and then you can interrogate me and we'll go through everything. The point is very, very simple. Bemet is very simple. The thing is not to overcomplicate the situation, it's rather to simplify the situation. The reality is as follows. Mashiach has to come any second. The next part of our reality is a real suffering, in some type of a way. And we want the suffering to end. We want this headache to finish. We want to go already to that. We had enough. Bemet, we had enough. Everybody can come and say, yes, I had enough. I'm ready. Hashem is being...
How do you make people,
What?
how do you make people understand that it's not enough? And they'll say, I don't want to hear it.
How do you make people understand that? First, you have to understand that.
Oh, I understand.
So, the thing is, at first, each and every one of us has to reach to a point that we really understand, know, believe, and willing to make a change. I mean, to talk in theory is very, very nice, but very few people really believe 100% when they wake up in the morning, they're looking in the sky, is Mashiach here? No, he didn't come today. Wow, I have another day to do a lot of mitzvot. Let me see what I can do. The reality is very few people really live it, really believe it. Their drive every day is not the fact Mashiach is coming. How to get to do it? That's a different lecture. The point is that, there's a whole pattern what a person has to do. And the first thing that one needs to do is to get himself on the track that totally ignore my situation right now. It's not about my situation. It's not about me right now and my problems. It's about a global thing. How am I solving this major problem? Because if I solve the major problem, then my small issues will be solved. And that happens, first of all, then a person has to be God-fearing. There's no discounts here and negotiation. I'll do 1 million a day, 2 millions, I'm not going to have to do it. There's no negotiation here. And I know many people, they say, okay, you have to go in stages. And that was good for 10 years ago, go in stages. Right now, it's, when a person, chas v'shalom, has a sword on his neck, there's no time for stages. Not too long ago, I have a young student in his late 20s that chas v'shalom lo aleinu, they found something in the head, and he freaked out. The doctors tell him we have to run tests, MRIs, all these CT, everything. We think there's something going on. He blew a gasket. That's it. I'm going to die. Now this is a guy who was born and he's frum from birth, but he's not really frum. He's like frum in the holidays. But he's doing his part. And everybody's telling him, take your time and it's okay and this and that. And suddenly he has a due date. And the doctors are telling him, listen, it doesn't look so good. For 3 weeks he was the tzaddik of the generation. He was the first one waking up, first one in the minyan, davening, learning, everything. For 3 weeks, he was a tzaddik of the generation. Never seen anything like it. Why? Because he had the option of maybe, chas v'shalom, dying. So he made a very quick calculation. What are my options? If I die, I better come up there with some with some material and not come up there with all my schmutz. And if chas v'shalom, there's an opportunity of maybe not dying, only him will change the situation. So I have to get on his good side. He's texting me. How do I get on Hashem's good side? Tell him, what do you think? It's your buddy? You have to get on his good side? So the reality was that he was so under pressure that I'm not exaggerating. For 3 weeks, he never seen such a tzaddik. The whole thing, the whole 9 yards. Now I'm not coming in chas v'shalom complaining or saying anything. Baruch Hashem, he learned his lesson. After this, Baruch Hashem, nothing happened, by the way. The doctors said, it's okay, everything's okay. But first of all, he got such a scare that he got his act together. Now, you should not wait for that scare. You should operate. I mean, it's a very negative attitude to operate in the fact that maybe today is my last day. But if you're looking at it in a very, let's call it a reasonable way, or rational way, today might be my last day. How am I conducting my last day on this world? What am I leaving behind me? Am I leaving junk? Am I leaving something? What am I leaving? It's not a good attitude to live like that. But you have to add that to your daily agenda. Maybe I'm on the list today. Maybe today is my day. How am I living my day? Am I living my day to the fullest? I might not have tomorrow an opportunity to do what I can do today. So that's the first thing one needs to do, is to live your life that, wait a minute, this is not 20 years ago that one can say, okay, I have time. No, there's no time. So first of all, you want to be 100% on the top of the chart. Because if chas v'shalom, the redemption is coming not in a nice way, only whoever has the zchut will survive. I mean, Hashem says very, very clearly, you have a zchut, you'll survive. He says it clear in the Torah. V'atem advakim b'Hashem Elokechem chayim kulchem hayom. You holding Hashem, you'll survive. David HaMelech says very clearly, Pol mitzidcha elef, uvava miiminecha, elecha lo yigash. 1,000 will fall on this side, 10,000 will fall on this side, nothing's going to happen. You're just going to walk. So if a person is holding in a place that he has enough merits, he has nothing to fear. And if chas v'shalom it was his time to live, that was the date. And he might be lucky and he goes on Kiddush Hashem. But a person, first of all, most important, has to hold himself in a point that, am I really holding Hashem? Am I really davek b'kadosh baruch Hu? and to make yourself a whole account. And it's very easy to wake up in the morning and say, ooh, I have a whole list of problems, so I can't make it to the minyan. And I have a whole list of problems, I can't do this, and I can't do that. That's just looking at myself and saying, oh, my situation is so bad, I can't handle my problems, so therefore I can't be a religious Jew today. What is that going to do with it today? You still eat, whatever you do, you still breathe. You still eat, you still go to sleep. Now again, chas v'shalom, don't take my words the wrong way that I'm chas v'shalom minimizing problems of people. I'm not. I'm not coming and saying, everybody's whining. I'm not saying that. Please do not take my words and say that I'm thinking in a very distorted way. I do look at every individual and I feel bad for whatever they go through. And I feel the pain. And I can relate with every person. I'm not chas v'shalom making nothing small. I'm just saying is that the only solution, everybody's looking for solution. The only solution is Mashiach. So I have to work towards that. I have to work towards that solution. And the basic thing is, first of all, I have to follow the Torah. That's it. There's no other way. There's no loopholes. There's no shortcuts. And the next thing is that I have to go out of my way to help another person. That is what Hashem is really going to melt his heart. When we love each other and we're nice to each other, that's it. That's where we push Hashem's soft spot. And exactly like most of you are parents here, I can tell it on myself that when my kids fight, especially over nonsense, over like a little plastic toy, it breaks my heart to see what are you fighting? On a plastic toy, just give him the toy. This is what you're fighting over? It breaks my heart. It makes me sometimes angry. How can you fight about something so minor and irrelevant? But when they get along, and they're best friends, biggest nachat. Don't give me anything, just give me this nachat to see my kids getting along with each other. And Hashem is exactly the same. He looks down at us, and when we fight over something irrelevant, he's like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And when we get along, wow. So we need to hit Hashem in the soft spot, in the soft point, that he sees how we're getting along. Now, it's not easy. It's very hard to tolerate everybody else, like you're saying, it's hard. But that's the nisayon, that's what we have to do. I don't have to love everybody. I have to tolerate them. And I have to coexist with people and to find the good in every person.
If they want to reciprocate.
It doesn't matter. There's good in every person. Every person has good in it. And if I'm not able to see the good in another person, first of all, it means I didn't look enough. More than that means that I'm not refined, that I'm not able to see in another person the good in him. Yeah, we all have bad. I also have bad. And if I'm looking at the mirror and I'm not able to tell myself that I have bad, something's wrong with me. Everybody has bad. So if I'm able to look at somebody and see the bad in them, okay, I have bad too. Let's remove the bad for a second. Let me see what good you have, and now I can see the good in you. Because I can able to see good in me, so I'm able to see good in you. And you're also a Jew, and you're also the child of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and yes, you're having a hard time right now. I can understand. The point is that we're in such a quicksand hole and going down and down and down that the only way to get out of it is only when it's a group. Our sages say, "En chavush matir atzmo mibet ha'asurim." A prisoner cannot get himself out of his own cell. I'm stuck in my own cell. I need somebody to take me out. And how somebody will take me out if I take somebody else out? And it's a chain reaction. The reality is that we're all in it together. If we're separating each other, then Hashem says, okay, I can't really help you. You have to be Barchenu avinu kulanu ke'echad. We want the blessing, you have to be ke'echad. So I'm not saying anything is easy. Everything that I'm just saying now is very hard. To be totally God-fearing, that's very hard. Because I have many other things to do in my life. And to be totally united and totally Avat Israel and totally tolerate, yeah, of course it's hard. But what are my options? What other options do I have? There's no other option. So the point is that each and every one of us has an unbelievable responsibility to bring the redemption. That's why Hashem is putting this pressure on every one of us. Because really, when you're thinking of it, really, nobody's really acting. And you know when you really, really see it? 3 weeks ago, a little girl is being murdered in her home. Nothing. everybody puts pictures on their Facebook wall, and everybody says it's sad, and that's it. I cannot understand how half this nation doesn't go out to the streets and goes crazy.
They're numb.
I do not understand that.
They're numb. They see so much that they can't handle it.
No, I'm not coming and chas v'shalom trying to explain why. I'm just seeing that where do you see that nothing is moving, that we are able to see such a thing. You hear a mother crying her heart out, and we sympathize for 3 minutes, and then, okay, I gotta go do my shopping. The reality is that Hashem is pushing us to such a point which is unbelievable that people don't lose it when things like this happen. And that is the proof that nobody is really pushed to the point that I had enough of it. Every now and then you see some guy losing it and doing something. And what does he look like? A Meshuggah. That's what he's looked like, a Meshuggah. And people come and condemn him. The reality is that we're all pushed to, Hashem is pushing us to the extreme because He wants us to scream for Mashiach. He wants us, He says, I want you to scream for Mashiach, and I'm not going to give you that for free. Because if I have to give it for free, it's going to have to come not nice. We have to scream, we have to demand. Not too long ago, we celebrated Pesach Sheni. Now what is this holiday? This holiday means that if somebody was out on the journey, he was impure, or whatever other way he could not sacrifice the sacrifice of Pesach, then he got a second chance. You know why they got that second chance? They came to Moshe Rabbeinu and demanded, why should I go give a sacrifice? What kind of a chutzpah is that? They demanded, I want to give a sacrifice. So what if I was impure? What is my problem? Why are you taking this chutz from me? They demanded, they got their sacrifice, they got their holiday. We don't demand Hashem that I have to come now and says, I demand, I want to give a korban. I want to give a korban. What kind of a chutzpah is it that I cannot give a korban? I have a sheep out here. I want to bring it to Bet HaMikdash. Nobody demands. Nobody demands from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I want to use my right as a Jew. I want to sacrifice. I want to do something. But everybody's like, So the bottom line is that we're all numb. You're right, we're numb. Why? It's not a question why we're numb. Don't try to analyze why. The point is that something has to happen. There has to be an action. And if I'm not willing to take an action, then you're not going to be willing to take an action, and you're not going to be, and you're not going to be. Because you says, if he's not doing it, why should I do it? If he's not doing it, why should I do that? So it has to be the first Meshuggah. The thing is that everybody has to look in their own world and says, okay, I need to take action here. In my 4 amot, what am I doing in my own life? So so I pray 3 times a day, and I keep Shabbat, and I eat kosher, very good. Next, what's next? What am I doing in my own life? How am I becoming much more refined? It's not right now about doing the actual mitzvot. If you're not doing that, that's a whole different problem. It's about how am I refining myself, how am I working on myself, and then how do I reach out to another person? And more than that, we have to start demanding. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says that the generation of the first Bet HaMikdash died because they didn't demand the Geulah. We don't demand the Geulah. I think very few people really demand from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I want Mashiach to come. This is not a joke anymore. So the point is that it's not why we're numb. It's how am I getting out of this state of being numb? What do I do? Now if I'm not going to do nothing, then you're not going to do anything. So I have to initiate. In my own community, in my own home, in my own shul. Don't be afraid. People tell me, people will call me crazy. People think I'm nuts. People laugh at me.
People think I'm crazy too, but I don't.
Who cares?
I don't care.
That if this young man that I told you about, that was about to lose his life because they thought he has a tumor in his head, he didn't care what people think. He had an agenda. And his agenda was very simple. If I'm going to Shamayim, I'm coming up with something. And if I'm not, then I'm going to change my fate by doing what Hashem wants me to do. At least I did my part. He had an agenda. He did not care. You think you're going in Yerushalayim or any other place here in Bet Shemesh on Shabbat? You think somebody walks with a talis on himself on Shabbat? He cares. If somebody thinks he's laughing at him, not laughing, who cares, Bechlal, what people think about me? I have to do the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I have to care what the Kadosh Baruch Hu thinks about me, not what you think about me. With all the respect, I don't care what you think about me. I care what the Kadosh Baruch Hu thinks. I have to impress one entity, and that's only the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I don't have to impress anyone. Yeah, I have to do it in Derech Eretz. I have to do it in the way of the Torah. Not to hurt anyone, not to stamp on anyone. Yeah, but I have to give din v'cheshbon to only the Kadosh Baruch Hu, not to anyone else. So if you feel all the time that people are going to laugh at me, they think I'm going to crazy, they think I'm this, then you're going to get anywhere like that. The thing is that each and every one of us has to stand and say, what am I doing? I have responsibility here. And if we have enough of these people, the Geulah is going to come. We don't need the entire nation. People say, we need all the Jews to do tshuva. You don't. You need a knish tachada, a small group. That's what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says. We just need a little group that is taking it serious. We have this little group, we'll be in good business. We'll be in good shape. Everything can turn like that. Hashem already proved that He can make miracles that we can't even imagine what type of miracles we can see. Positive miracles. Hashem can change everything in one shot. But we have to give the opportunity. We have to do that. Hashem says, I'll do my part, you do your part. And if I'm just living my life sunk into my own issues, I'm not going to be productive in anything. Yeah, the issues are not going to move away. Don't think that if you do any type of action, your own issues will move. They're not. They're staying there till Mashiach comes. And in most cases, they're going worse and worse and worse. There's not a solution. Not any other solution. The only solution is Mashiach. So I have to point myself, how am I bringing Mashiach? Not how am I dealing with my problems. The problems are there to stay. Till Mashiach comes. When Mashiach is going to come, they disappear. B'ezrat Hashem, we should merit to see the Geulah with our own eyes very soon. And we should, B'ezrat Hashem, each and every one of us should have the merit in bringing the Geulah. B'ezrat Hashem, the next shiur will already be rushing to see one of the korbanot. And just remember that it's all in our hands, and every one of us has the power to do it.